But he has the right response. You know, he realizes, like, yeah, it's just ridiculous that the Unitarian Universalist would accuse someone of blasphemy to hide pedophilia and rape. And, you know, he also said sorry. You know, gee, like, when the Unitarian Universalists first accused me of blasphemous libel, I made 3 very specific demands. I said, well, you're going to formally withdraw that accusation because it's completely false. You're going to publicly apologize. You're going to say sorry, and you're going to do so publicly. And the third thing I said is you're going to tell the truth about just how many Unitarian Universalist ministers have actually been charged, tried, and convicted of such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape, because a certain number have been charged, tried, and convicted and sentenced to jail terms. And I also said, as part of that, that you're also going to disclose how many Unitarian ministers have been credibly accused of such despicable crimes, pedophilia and rape. So you're not going to name just the ones that good day, sir. Yeah, hard to believe, but true. Unitarians are accusing me of blasphemy. So this fellow, whose name I don't remember, is a member of the Lakeshore Unitarian Universalist congregation. I've seen him in the past. I'd say he's probably one of the leading members. So he's seen me. You know, I used to sometimes go to services of the Lakeshore Unitarian Universalist congregation, and sometimes engaged in discussion groups. I think it's largely through discussion groups that I encountered this fellow. So he knows who I am, and he just sort of smiles and waves. But he shouldn't be just smiling and waving. You know, he should be doing something about the situation. But unfortunately, he prefers to just do nothing. So what do we got here? We got somebody coming along with a guitar. Alright, I guess he's running late for the service. Your church, sir. So, getting this sort of disdainful look from the guy. Anyhow, the picket signs that I'm displaying in my right and left hands say, one more time, Unitarian Universalists misuse blasphemy law to cover up and deny pedophilia and rape. And it's an entirely truthful statement that protests against the fact that the Unitarian Universalist Association in Boston hired Stikeman Elliott, barristers and solicitors litigation lawyer Maitre Marc-Andre Coulombe, to falsely accuse me of the criminal act of blasphemous libel for allegedly, and I do say allegedly because it's absolutely not true, making unfounded and vicious allegations to the effect that ministers of the association engage in such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape. I will add that that's not the only false accusation that Maitre Marc-Andre Coulombe brought against me. He also accused me of threatening and defamatory conduct amounting to sexual harassment of female Unitarian Universalist ministers, or it might have been women Unitarian Universalist ministers. And this is interesting too, because he was basically accusing me of sexual harassment of Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein because I blogged about a sodomy fantasy that she posted to the internet. And the way the letter was worded, it was almost as if he was trying to claim, you know, that I was falsely accusing Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein of posting a sodomy fantasy to the internet. Well, that is, again, not true. She actually did so, and the exact words of her sodomy fantasy were as follows. Here's my sodomy fantasy. South Dakota State Senator Bill Napoli anally impaled on the Statue of Liberty's torch. Now that's a pretty obscene, even somewhat sadistic sodomy fantasy, imagining a Republican state senator being anally impaled on the Statue of Liberty's torch. Pretty graphic, I would say. And yes, Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein did actually post that sodomy fantasy to her Peace Bang blog. And I criticized it because, well, it's obscene, it's sadistic, it's basically conduct unbecoming a minister, to say the very least. And what's interesting is, you know, on the one hand, the Unitarian Universalist Association, with the help of Stikeman Elliott barristers and solicitors, is accusing me of threatening and defamatory conduct amounting to sexual harassment of Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein for criticizing that sodomy fantasy, when that sodomy fantasy itself can be very much more reasonably described as threatening and defamatory conduct amounting to sexual harassment of South Dakota State Senator Bill Napoli. So it's just outrageous, hypocritical double standards exercised by the Unitarian Universalist religious community. You know, they're accusing me of crimes to hide criminal, or if not criminal, pretty gross behavior on the part of its clergy. I mean, the whole point of having me served with a cease and desist demand letter was to intimidate me into removing the blog posts that spoke about such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape committed by Unitarian Universalist ministers, and spoke about Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein's obscene and sadistic sodomy fantasy, criticizing it, even mocking and ridiculing her to some extent. And the reason I do use a certain amount of mockery and ridicule is because Unitarian Universalists happily allow their clergy to mock and ridicule me and other people. So it's basically just subjecting them to their own treatment. You know, they say, oh, it's okay for our ministers to, you know, mock and ridicule people. It's okay for our ministers to fantasize about anally impaling a Republican senator on the Statue of Liberty's torch and so on. And that's true, because I actually did file a formal complaint against Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein, which was in part complaining about her obscene and sadistic sodomy fantasy, as well as other conduct unbecoming a minister. And the UUA just dismissed the complaint. They said, oh, she can say what she wants. You know, it's that's fine. You know, so I figure if Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein can, you know, say things like, you know, here's my sodomy fantasy, South Dakota State Senator anally impaled on Statue of Liberty's torch. Well, I think I can say things like, happy shall Peace Bang be when she taketh and anally impaleth Bill Napoli on the Statue of Liberty's torch, you know, mocking Peace Bang with a little biblical reference there. Yeah, you know, the UUA wanted that blog post to disappear. That's pretty clear. They wanted my blog posts about Reverend Mac Mitchell and Richard Buell to disappear. They didn't. I didn't remove so much as a comma from any of the blog posts that I posted about Unitarian Universalist pedophiles and rapists. I did not remove a comma from any of my blog posts that criticized Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein's sodomy fantasy and so on. So,
hey, hello, Robin.
hi.
Long time no see.
Yeah, long time no see. Guess who's being...
I missed you yesterday.
No, you didn't actually.
I saw you were here, but you were in the wrong place.
No, I went to the right place, but you were all hiding inside, so... So this guy is presenting an example of dismissive behavior, you know, like being the nice guy, you know, and maybe even mocking me a little bit, saying I was in the wrong place. Well, no, I wasn't in the wrong place. I knew that something was happening here based on what I'd read on the internet, so I came here first. And as it is, I actually think I was in the right place in a way, because I caught the youth leaving the building, and so the youth saw my picket signs, and then I trotted over to the Beaconsfield United Church, where the good day. So I went over to the Beaconsfield United Church, where the main event was being held, but that church the way it is set up is the windows are totally opaque. You know, you can't see out of the building, can't see into it. So you know, basically my protest was pretty much invisible to the people inside, and they weren't coming out. So, what, you think it's funny?
No, not at all. I can't believe it.
Well, it's true, and you can verify that. I actually posted the legal letter in which the Unitarian Universalist Association falsely accused me of the criminal act of blasphemous libel, because it is a criminal act, for blogging about pedophiles and rapists. You can see the actual legal letter on the internet if you go looking for it. Just search Unitarian Universalist and blasphemous libel, or blasphemy law. Or,
Okay.
yeah. So unfortunately, the Unitarian Universalist religious community is misusing Canada's blasphemy law in legal bullying that's intended to hide pedophilia and rape committed by Unitarian Universalists. I'd say that's an injustice that needs to be rectified. Well, okay, I didn't catch what she said, but she at least said yes. I heard her say yeah. You know, so here's someone who's claiming she's, you know, totally unaware of this, which is quite possible. It's not impossible. There are some Unitarian Universalists that are completely unaware of the fact that the Unitarian Universalist Association is misusing Canada's blasphemy law to hide pedophilia and rape, and that's one of the reasons I'm protesting, is to reach those Unitarian Universalists who don't know. But I'm also protesting because a whole lot of Unitarian Universalists do know and aren't doing anything about it. So that's another reason to protest. But yes, certainly one of the reasons to protest is to just bring this to the attention of those Unitarian Universalists who don't know this yet. And there are a certain number who are completely unaware of the Unitarian Universalist Association's misuse of blasphemy law to hide pedophilia and rape. And as it is, we're coming to the end of a half-hour segment here. We've got a few seconds left, so we're going to just let the video end. But yes, we're in front of the Lakeshore Unitarian Church, and these are the picket signs that I'm displaying.